The Madras High Court has once again reserved its orders on the release of TVK chief Vijay's final movie, Jana Nayagan. The hearing today in the High Court began with the CBFC's argument stating that they were fully within their rights to ask for a review of the movie. The High Court observed that the makers of the movie cannot ask for an expedited release of the movie, citing financial reasons. The makers, however, have argued that they were not made aware of the review and that the certification was provided before asking for the required cuts in the movie. Let's tell you more about the statements that were given out in the Madras High Court today and the observation that the Madras High Court made. Number one, that the CBFC should have rather given minimum time. Let's tell you the Censor Board's charges and the director's counter. First person, the chairperson has powers to order review. To that, the directors say that the CBFC chairperson's orders not given to us yet. Let's move on to the second pointer. Several movies have been sent to revising committee. That's what the Censor Board alleges. Censor Board says, to which the directors, the KBN Productions, allege that we were merely informed of their orders. Apart from this, the Censor Board says objections conveyed within 7 days, but the makers say that just 4-5 days prior to the release is when this happened. CBFC gave no information on the complaints, and the directors are perhaps ready to make changes when it comes to the minor edits. Then, the Censor Board says producers should not challenge the review, to which director says no transparency from Censor Board's side. So this is where things stand, what the Censor Board are saying, and the counter by the directors so far. Let's tell you more about the Jana Nayagan CBFC row, where things are headed to at this point of time. So, let's tell you more about the movie and where things stand and all that's happened at the court. Well, at this point of time, the Madras High Court has reserved its orders in the Jana Nayagan CBFC matter, but it has not mentioned a date in the judgment. This means that the court will announce its decision later, and the date will be informed only when the order is ready. And this is, of course, TVK chief Vijay's last movie before he enters politics. A lot has been happening in his life before the polls in Tamil Nadu at this point of time. Let's now take you through the timeline of all that has happened so far and the hiccups and the roadblocks when it comes to TVK Chief Vijay's movie Jana Nayagan. So December 18th, Jana Nayagan submitted to CBFC Chennai for the movie review because it was slated to release on January 9th. Then on December 24th, I'll ask my director to move to the second page. On December 24th, the makers accepted minor edits. KBN Productions said that we will accept the minor edits in the movie. But then, on January 5th, which is just 4 days prior to the release, makers were informed of complaint. This is on January 5th, the makers were informed of complaint. And on January 6th, then, this is 3 days before the actual release date, KBN Productions filed petition to the Madras High Court. January 9th, single judge directed CBFC to issue UA certificate and the order was stayed. CBFC then filed a writ plea. All this is happening on the day that the movie had to be released, which is January 9th. And of course, the release date of Jana Nayagan was postponed on January 9. January 11th, makers approached the Supreme Court. Then on January 15th, the Supreme Court refused to hear matter and instructed makers to approach the Madras High Court to decode all that has happened. When it comes to Jana Nayagan, my colleague Sam Daniels is now joining me live. Sam, at this point of time, the Madras High Court has reserved the order, but it has not mentioned a date for the judgment. Can you decode what that means for the movie, for our viewers, and what can we expect moving forward? Will we actually get a concrete date of the release of Jana Nayagan?
Well, the arguments were concluded today by both sides, the CBFC as well as the film producers, and the court, the division bench has reserved orders without mentioning dates. The expectation is that by the weekend, before Friday, lawyers hope the court will be able to pass orders. The CBFC argued that the single judge did not give enough time for them to file their counter, and they argued that according to the rules, the chairman of the Film Certification Board is well within his rights to ask a revising committee to review the film, although initially the another committee had watched the film. And they point out that it's just not Jana Nayagan. Several other films also go through this process. Had the CBFC been allowed to go on, by now they would have finished the process and perhaps the certification could have been issued. But because of the court case, now the entire thing has been delayed. But the producer argued that there's no transparency in CBFC. In fact, even after they made all those changes recommended by the committee, they did not grant a certification. Initially, they had assured that once these changes are made, they are good to go and that the certification will be issued. And then suddenly, they bring in an element saying that there's a complaint by somebody and that's why they have to refer the film to another revising committee. And even they did not upload the chairman's order, the board's order, but they only had uploaded the intimation.
Right.
It was on these lines largely they argued, and they also added that if there is merit in the case, it's fine for a judge to pass orders even without asking for the other party to file their counter. And in this case, that appears to be the reason why the single judge had passed an order without waiting for the CBFC to file a counter. And they also point out the date for the release of the film has been announced, and it's a 500 crore film, and that's why there is a bit of urgency. Finally, the court observed that it's not right on the part of the producer to fix the dates first and then pressure the court, citing the heavy investment. And now all eyes would be on what the court would have to say whenever they pass orders in this case.
Right, and we'll wait and have to see when the movie actually gets released for the TVK chief Vijay Thalapathi's fans to watch the movie. But thanks, Sam. Let's tell you more about the observations which were made in Madras High Court today when it comes to TVK chief Vijay's Jana Nayagan. Observation number 1, CBFC should have given minimum time to file counter. Then, the producer cannot seek relief, citing release date. Apart from this, cannot seek relief citing rupees 500 crore investment. You cannot say that a lot of money hasn't put in the movie. Then, examining panel only an advisory body. So these are some of the big statements, takeaways that happened today in the Madras High Court when it comes to TVK chief Vijay's Jana Nayagan.